Hey there, welcome to episode 53 of Social Business Engine, the podcast that showcases industry thought leaders that represent modern business in action through the culture and technology of social. I'm your host, Bernie Borges of Find and Convert, with a less than optimal podcasting voice here today. But hey, thanks for listening. On this episode, you're going to meet Michelle Antilla and Carmen Collins from Cisco. Carmen and Michelle work together in talent acquisition at Cisco, where they execute strategies in combination with employer branding and social media engagement. With 94% of all recruiters now active in social media, that means that there are a lot of people trying to find the same talent in the same place. And on this episode, you're going to discover how Michelle and Carmen have implemented a social recruiting program at Cisco called the Social Vengers that's producing very impressive results. This episode is sponsored by Cision. Cision is widely recognized as a leading provider of software used by public relations professionals to plan, execute, and measure influencer-oriented campaigns in one integrated platform. We've partnered with Cision to publish Social Business Journal Volume 2, a how-to guide in influencer relations. Visit socialbusinessengine.com/Cision, C-I-S-I-O-N, and download this journal and up your influencer marketing game in 2015. And now let's get to my conversation with Michelle and Carmen from Cisco. Michelle and Carmen, welcome to the Social Business Engine podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Hi, Bernie. We're so happy to be here.
Terrific. Well, Michelle and Carmen, we know how intense the recruiting game is, how competitive it is for talent out there. And Cisco is a 74,000 employee company. So I'm really intrigued and thrilled to jump on a podcast today to talk about what you're doing in social recruiting to address this ongoing challenge. So why don't you begin with the introduction to Social Vengers?
Well, first let us say that Cisco is focused on the Internet of Everything, and it's this phenomenon driving new opportunities for Cisco, as well as the type of talent pools that we're trying to attract. And this includes engineers, folks in the mobile space, cloud, security, data, and consulting. And as you said, we are in a very competitive space, along with many other recruiters who are also using social, and that really presented this welcome opportunity for us to find a program that would really engage our own recruiters.
Now, this program that you call Social Vendors, it has lots of really creative elements to it. So why don't you describe the program? But I'm also interested in understanding how you came up with the idea. What was the strategy that went into the Social Vengers program?
Sure. So Social Vengers is a way that we gamified the required learning and the active use of social media for our recruiters and sourcers, and actually the whole talent team here at Cisco. The team was in social at different areas of expertise. There were newbies, there were folks that had been in social a long time, and we know that to reach that talent, the best of the best, they're not applying for jobs. They're not going to the job boards as often because they're passive. You know, there's a joke that for programmers, when you recruit for programmers, everybody throws them a party, right? Because they're so in demand. Mm-hmm. And so we wanted to get our recruiters to build their networks and to really start to use social media as a way to make these connections because, again, you know, the job seekers aren't coming to us. We have to go where they are. And Social Vengers is a program that, again, it gamifies social. They earn badges. There are 3 levels of badges they can earn, and for each badge level, there's a set of activities that they would complete. And it ranges, as you can imagine, level 1 ranges from easier to harder. But we've really engaged our team, and they're very excited to participate. And we've given them posters and fun things that they can hang on their cubes and their walls at home because we have a lot of flex working people. And so we're really excited to talk about it more with you today. And then Michelle's going to take part 2.
Cool. Yeah.
What was so interesting about how we got to this program was initially all of the TA organization had gone through social media certification. And you take all of this training, you get all of this knowledge, and then you have to decide what's the next step. And so we decided that as a TA organization, our leaders were behind us, that we all wanted to be engaged in social. And our bigger goal was we each have professional and social goals. And as you know, and other recruiters are involved, we need to be social. Sometimes without a roadmap, it's very difficult of how you're going to get there. You see all these channels out there, and if you don't define that direction that you're going to take, you can sometimes be lost because there are so many channels. So we decided that as a team, we would set this goal that we had 100% talent acquisition engagement in this program. So at the end of this program, we will all be receiving badges through the program, and we would also start with a mission statement to define that roadmap for all.
Now, was the mission statement something that was shared with everybody, and really was there a big investment in that, or was it something that was just kind of one time and moved on?
No, we've decided that this would be very much about capabilities building and also a way for each recruiter to have a conversation with their manager on an ongoing basis about their professional development. And whether you're an executive in our organization or you're a recruiter or maybe you're in the operations side of the business, we each have professional goals. And the idea is that it's very customized to you and where you need to go within the course of the year.
Now, you use the acronym TA, and that stands for Talent Acquisition, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So that's a department at Cisco?
Yes, this is our recruiting organization.
Okay. So these are people whose full-time jobs at Cisco are to recruit talent, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
To attract talent. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'd like to add something to just give Michelle kudos. It was her thought that we turn this into a theme of superheroes, which is why it's called the Social Avengers. And the main reason is because, you know, an everyday hero is an ordinary person who does extraordinary things. And we just thought that that was a really good way to theme this program. And the badges look like shields, superhero shields, and, you know, the superhero imagery. And that was really Michelle's way of bringing the brand back into this program. And it's just really cool. And everybody thinks that the graphics and the theme is awesome.
So first of all, way to go, Michelle. And I'm looking at the image right now. And of course, podcasters are generally mobile, so they're going to have to wait till they get to the show notes page on socialbusinessengine.com to actually see this image. But just to kind of paint the visual for our listeners, I'm looking at avatars, and there's 5 of them. There's one with a LinkedIn on his chest. There's a Pinterest with an avatar with a Pinterest on. It looks like a female, her chest. A guy with Facebook. I don't know if it's a guy or a gal with Pinterest, and then it looks like a gal with Instagram logo. So, and they're all, like you said, superhero avatars. So I'm curious, what's the reaction been from the TA community?
We have had a huge outpouring of support for the program, and when we officially rolled it out, there was a lot of excitement among the team. And I think kind of, again, we set that kind of goal with the mission statement, and once everyone had kind of, again, with the superhero theme, set their mission and now on their way, I think the beauty of what's unfolding is our team really provides all the support that they need. If they have any questions, they can reach out to Carmen. There are others on our social media team that can really help them. And I think the value of the theme itself is just a huge amount of fun, and there's no limits to being a superhero, you know. And so we've done a lot of things that can really allow this program to infiltrate into the rest of the organization, whether it's HR or employees who would like to be advocates. And as Carmen said, there's these badges, and the badges themselves are just really fun, and the things that you do to win the badges are really encouraging. So once you take a first step and you see the benefit of what you did, right? If you post something on LinkedIn, or if you go out on Twitter and you share advice as an example, all of a sudden you get the results back and you're realizing I can take this next step. So it's just created this opportunity for the whole team to share what they're doing with each other and to support each other.
So let's talk about the badges. So correct me if I'm wrong, but are these the three levels: Social, Cyclone, Centurion, and Falcon, Stealth Falcon?
Yes, those are our three levels. And to Bernie's point, we are on a podcast, so it's really hard to be visual, but you'll check it out later, I'm sure. But each badge is like a shield. If you think of a superhero with their shield, that things just bounce right off of them. They're designed that way. They're named that way. And again, that's to get these folks excited. And to Michelle's point, just the graphics alone have caused people outside of our talent acquisition organization to come back to us and just say, I want to participate. Like, this is cool. I know you built it for this group of this audience, but I really want to be a superhero too, because again, a superhero is just an ordinary person, right? We're just all ordinary people trying to get through our day and get our goals met. And this is how we do it. We just do these fun, extraordinary things. We leap tall buildings, to use a Superman reference, right? So we've designed those badges that way, and everybody has been really receptive so far.
I think it creates also a really competitive environment, and recruiters by nature are competitive.
Right.
And so we actually took a bit of time before we rolled out the program. It took us 3 months to develop the program, and then it took a month to really integrate all the components, doing the mission statements, and then letting everybody know when the trainings were going to be. And we were starting to get emails from the team like, I just can't wait. I think I'm at my first badge, and can I get that poster? That poster is really cool, and I really want to put those posters all over my cube. And we have a lot of the team are remote, and so wanting to post things in their home office and actually start challenging each other. So it was really fun prior to kind of kick it off, knowing people were so excited to actually be a part of it. And then what we're seeing now is that that excitement kind of keeps building, and we think that it'll be opportunity to build those badges for other types of things within this program, but keep the momentum going. Once they've reached 1, 2, or 3 levels, what will be that 4th level, as an example. So there's just a lot of potential for how we could use the program.
Cool. Michelle, you said something earlier about how it took you 3 months to build a program, and I actually want to come back to that if we could, but first I want to pause for a message from our sponsor, Cision. Cision is widely recognized as a leader in public relations software. We're excited to partner with Cision in Volume 2 of the Social Business Journal. In this how-to guide on influencer marketing, you'll discover a 3-step process from Cision on how to develop an influencer relations program. And you'll hear from business experts on everything from what an ideal influencer looks like to the secret sauce of penetrating the sphere of an influencer. Additionally, we've interviewed 21 business experts that deliver bite-sized insights to give you actionable takeaways for your influencer relations strategy. To get your copy of Social Business Journal Volume 2, just go to socialbusinessengine.com/Cision, and that's CISION. So, Michelle, you mentioned that it took about 3 months to build the program. So for our listeners who are maybe thinking, wow, we need to do something like Social Avengers, this is really cool. Give a little insight into that building process. I mean, you don't have to kind of give away the secrets, but, what are some of the things that you experienced in that building process?
The whole team was really involved, from the leadership on down, in terms of, what some of the needs were. And as a team, we had recognized that networking and being consultative across not only our organization, but outside our organization, and being influential in social was a huge goal. And as we were doing other programs over the past year, we recognized it as our area of growth as a team. And whether you're, thinking about your personal goals as an individual or your professional goals, it's sort of that recognition that this is where we needed to be and how we needed to move the needle in the organization. The reason it took 3 months, we really thought about, what are the things that are most important? As we just said, here's sort of the top 3 that I just gave you of the things that we identified as a team where we wanted growth and momentum. And then the second part of this whole exercise, we really knew that bigger than any of us is employee engagement and advocacy. And it's not just about our professional channels, but the networks of all of our employees. And we wanted that to start with talent acquisition. And so we designed the graphics very carefully, and we really thought about the needs of the team and what would keep them motivated to play throughout over the course of a couple of quarters and be very successful. And then Carmen has some ideas of how we really integrated the badges, so it wasn't just you won one badge and then you had to wait to win the next one. We really allowed the team to play at their own speed, and I think all of those things really, in combination, make this program successful. And that's really why it took that kind of time to really think it through, so that was something that would be long-lasting.
And we spent some time as well thinking about what each person would have to do in each level to earn their badge. You know, to Michelle's point, folks were at different levels and they had different missions. Like each person has a different mission depending on which area they recruit in, for example. And so we really put a lot of thought into, is this action item going to benefit that individual and their networks? Is it going to help with the Cisco career story that we're telling on our own social channels? And so a lot of thought and rethought went into what those items were going to be. Are they attainable? You know, why do something if you're not going to set somebody up for success, if it's just too hard to get there? Michelle and I are in social media all the time, so what may be super easy in our brains may not be super easy for someone who is just not, you know, a social media crazy person like we are. But, you know, we wanted to think about that. We wanted to think about what went in that mission statement. What questions did we need to really ask to make them think about? Who are you? What is your focus area? You know, these are things they know internally, but to say it externally and have that conversation with the leadership, which I've got to say, having leadership buy-in from the top down was also key, and we worked to get that in as well. You know, that made all the difference, and it made it a stronger program.
Well, you read my mind on that, Carmen. So we don't need to spend a lot of time on that because you just answered my question. And you're right. Anything in social business, when you've got leadership buy-in to the strategy, then it knocks down a lot of hurdles. Then it's just all about execution. One thing I'm curious about is from a personal branding standpoint, and maybe personal branding isn't the right way to frame this up. So maybe you can just respond to this. Am I a social vendor? If I'm a recruiter, if I'm on your TA team and I'm in this program, is that how I refer to myself, as a social vendor?
As a part of the program, yes.
Okay.
But they just, you know, they're a superhero, whether they're called a social vendor. And we've had some folks, Michelle mentioned how excited people were before we even launched the program. They wanted to pick their own superhero, and they're like, I want to be Catwoman, or I want to be Wonder Woman because she's got an invisible plane. You know, they were identifying it depending on who they were and what they were passionate about, which is, I think, how you grow a network anyway, right? Is finding the people that are passionate about what you are. So we let them individualize it in a way, but we call them social vendors. So when we send an email, we're like, hey, social vendors. Or when someone earns a badge, we call them a social vendor. So it's a little bit of both.
So Carmen, I just realized that I just skipped over that when I was visually describing that diagram of these avatars. They're superheroes. So why don't you describe who they are, who the superheroes are?
Oh, well, that just takes all the fun out of it. Again, I think we wanted, first of all, I love that the superheroes are diverse. A lot of times in comic books, they're not. And so we put a lot of thought into that because diversity is a big part of our brand.
Sure.
So there are men, there are women, and they all look different. And so they are an avatar so that you can project yourself, your personality. Okay. So
they're not intended to be Catwoman or Batman or Superman. It's kind of, you leave it up to my imagination as a member of the TA team to just be whatever superhero I want to be.
Absolutely. And we asked them to kick off this program what superpower they would like to have, what recruiting superpower they would like to have, and what superhero they wanted to be and why. Just to kick it off and to, again, get them thinking about this way that, you know, I'm Clark Kent, I can just jump into a phone booth and change into Superman, or, you know, I have this magic lasso, or whatever it is that person identifies with, that fits within this program.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about the progress that you're seeing. What kind of results are you seeing?
Well, The program launched at the beginning of February for our fiscal quarter of 3, and we had certain goals. Michelle and I just had certain goals for the program, for our own personal goals. We had goals for the TA team, and the first thing that we wanted to do was grow the Twitter network of our talent acquisition team by 40%. And we are over 100% growth. And I bet we're at 200 in the next week or so. I mean, people have really gotten excited about this. And what I love about it is they're not only advocates in social, but they're advocates for social. Because we have these recruiters that come back to us and say, if you had asked me a month ago to do this, I would have told you I don't have time, you're crazy, like this is not going to move the needle. And they're getting higher quality candidates. They're getting more candidates in their files. You know, it's really seen, they've really seen results from this.
So it's impacting their job performance then.
Absolutely. And you know what, Michelle can talk more to these stats, but you know what recruiters really care about, that's what they're moving the needle on.
Right.
I think one of the really exciting points for us is that as we are now being able to go out and share who has won their first level badge or who is working on their second level or won their second level, what we are seeing, and you know, it can be very difficult when you have recruiters who may be very social, and then maybe we're bringing along some new people who are just learning how to be social, and so they have a lot of those questions, and sometimes it can feel a little awkward when somebody knows something and you're not sure if you want to ask that question in that larger group. Because we have the whole team working on this and we're celebrating our successes, so we actually have some milestones that if we win our first level badges as a team, we get to do these really cool things together, right? And our leadership will participate in those successes, that everyone gets an opportunity to shine, and we celebrate each of their milestones. So if we see somebody and they're building this great network and they get the reward and recognition among the team, and it all helps meet our team goals as well as their individual personal goals. And so I think that's one of the beautiful things about taking this direction versus really hoping a recruiter is going to be social, but really prompting that our entire organization is meeting these goals. And Carmen had mentioned our network size, and when we mention to them, this is what you've done to contribute to the network, it changes how you rearrange your thought about my personal network, because the volume of that network is making a huge impact on our team goals. So it's been very rewarding for all to participate and to be able to be celebrated at any level that you're participating at.
That's fantastic. So that is fantastic. So I have one more question before we segue to my one thing question. And that is, if you had a crystal ball, I'm sure you've been asked this crystal ball question before, right? Where do you see the program 1 or 2 years down the road?
I think that this is going to ebb and flow, and it may look very different in 1 to 2 years in terms of maybe the campaign. You know, we may seem something very different, but with that idea, I mean, we've had a lot of learnings from this, and I think one of the things that we walk away with, I mean, to your point, Bernie, that this should be really fun. It shouldn't feel like a chore that we're doing, but something that we're really engaged in. Mm-hmm. And so whatever we do next, we want to take advantage of the learnings. We really love this idea of the badging and the gamification part of this, and we hope to really continue to explore and grow that side of the program.
Terrific. Well, it is a phenomenal program, the Social Venger Social Recruiting Program from Cisco. So I think it's a great segue now to talk about that one thing. And here's where I ask you, if there's any one thing that you could change about the way that business is conducted today, what would that be? And feel free, either one, Carmen, Michelle, whoever wants to go first.
I'm going to let Michelle go first because she said it so brilliantly that I want her to start.
For me, as I think about what we're talking about, that if we are helping all find the right talent for the right roles in the talent acquisition organization, I would say to businesses, remember who your audience is and talk to their interests. And while you do that, take risks. So instead of thinking about what you can't do, think about what you can do and what your expertise really is and how to help your audience with your expertise.
I'd like to piggyback on what Michelle just said about taking risks and finding the right talent. I would encourage companies to remember that I think the future of work is mobile. The best talent could be in any geo around the globe. And for example, I work remotely for Cisco in Florida, and that's a great thing about working at Cisco. And I think that that is a tactic that all companies could adopt to move business forward.
Fantastic. Well, terrific. That's great advice from both of you. Thank you so much. And before we close it up here, where can people connect with both of you online and learn more about the Social Vengers program?
Well, the Social Venger program is socialvengers.com, and you can find Carmen and I both on LinkedIn or Twitter, Facebook. And thank you so much, Bernie. We appreciated being able to share the program with you.
Absolutely. And Bernie, I hope that we'll just put our Twitter handles and so forth on that show page for folks to find us afterwards. And we're always happy to talk about it. Michelle and I never tire of talking about this business. It's our baby.
Well, Michelle Antilla, Carmen Collins from Cisco's Talent Acquisition Team, thank you so much for jumping on the Social Business Engine podcast with me here today to share this story about the Social Vengers program. It's a phenomenal program, and I will, of course, share all of the links. My listeners know that those links are available at socialbusinessengine.com/podcasts. I also want to remind my listeners that they can get their digital copy of Social Business Journal Volume 2, a how-to guide in influencer marketing that's produced in cooperation with Cision. Just go to socialbusinessengine.com/Cision, CISION, and follow the hashtag SBJV2 for engaging social media conversation. And I also like to remind my listeners to visit our video channel where they can catch interviews with other inspiring business professionals who are also succeeding in modern business through social. And lastly, if anybody's enjoyed this podcast, I would really be grateful if you'd write a review in iTunes. And to make that easy, we have a page that's set up at socialbusinessengine.com/iTunes that links directly to this podcast. Until next time, when I hope my voice is more cooperative for podcasting, this is Bernie Borges of Find and Convert, wishing you continued success on your social business journey.